When he was in Vrindavan, in Radha Kunda, he was staying, he was offering obeisances to 1,000 Vaishnavas every single day. 1,000 Vaishnavas. And he was eating, a little, one small ball, drona of, food, khichdi every day. That was his food, only one time. And he was doing Govardhan Parikrama every single day. So one description comes, he became so thin because he was performing severe austerity and doing Govardhan Parikrama, offering obeisances to Vaishnavas. He became so thin that when he used to do Govardhan Parikrama, because of high wind, his body used to, shake here and there. So, but someone reported this to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So, Mahaprabhu was extremely happy. That's what I wanted from my devotees, The Mahaprabhu, he came to teach two things. Vairagya Vidya, Nija Bhakti Yoga, Sikshartham Ekam, Purusha Purana. So, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would see his devotees are performing this, practice of renunciation, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would become extremely happy. So therefore Prabhupada says, he quoted from Bhagavad Gita, he says, eating, sleeping, other necessities of the body in proper proportion is important to become successful in yoga process, yoga process. Sometimes we ignore because we consider bhakti yoga is beyond everything, So we don't have to follow all this thing in proper proportion as much as we can take, It's there in the initial stage we can take as much as possible, Like one instruction is there, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Akanta Puriya Kara Prasad Bhojan. So you should take prasad until your neck. So he follows this instruction very nicely, because it's Mahaprabhu's instruction. He told actually some devotees. But Mahaprabhu was very intelligent. He says, Akanta Puriya, till your neck, but till your mouth. We take till our mouth, He says, we only follow the first line. He says, Akanta Puriya Karo Prasad Sevan. You take prasadam till your neck. Second line, he says, Sarvakhan Balahita Nama Sankirtan. But after taking prasadam till neck, you should chant constantly. So that you have to keep this portion available, empty, so that you can chant. But we take prasadam till here. We don't have any space to chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra, So he says, you take prasadam till neck, but keep this space available so that you can chant also after prasadam, So Prabhupada actually said, one man's, food is another man's poison. For example, Prabhupada gave an example in this regard in the Yuktahara Bihars, in this verse, for food. Once he was giving a lecture, Prabhupada gave the example. See, Kunti Mata, Mother Kunti, she used to divide food in two sections. The half for Bhima and half for four other brothers. So he's kind of, other they can't say, this is, regulated, this is sufficient food for us. What is for Bhima? That may be extra for other, that will be overeating for other Pandavas. For Bhima it was not overeating. So in Bhagavad Gita it says Brikodara. Bhima is addressed as Brikodara. So Prabhupada says Brikodara means voracious eater. So Prabhupada says Bhima was not eating only, but he was serving also more than other brothers. So Prabhupada told, and then his disciples were in front of Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada, if you eat more, you have to serve more. You can't only eat and you can sleep. No. You have to eat. If you eat like Bhima, you have to serve more in the temple, So therefore, like Prabhupada, in Los Angeles, 1969, Prabhupada was giving a lecture, and Prabhupada explained this. Bhima was eating, brikodar. So one, young boy, he says, Prabhupada, you said that other day, Bhima was eating as much as food was possible for him. But other day you say, if you eat more, you have to pay the price. So I didn't understand. Then Prabhupada says, then that boy actually, he raised this question, how about these devotees? They are eating so much prasadam. So Prabhupada says, you see, if you want, you can eat more, no problem. And then Prabhupada says, in medical advice, two kinds of mistakes in eating. He says, overeating and undereating. Overeating and undereating. And he says, undereating for an old man is very good. And overeating for boys is very good. So Prabhupada says, see, for me, overeating will be very harmful. So undereating is very good for me. But overeating for you all, very good. You can take as much as possible. And then he says, that boy, devotee says, what about Tamal, Krishna and Vishnujan? Prabhupada says, no. They are sannyasi, they should not eat. Prabhupada says, So overeating is harmful for them. Prabhupada told him. But he said initial stage you can take as much as possible so that you can lose attraction for mundane food. But after that, otherwise it will causes more sleep, and laziness. So therefore, here Prabhupada says swapa means sleeping. So sleeping and other necessities of the body is required with proper proportion. Then one can become successful. Otherwise, it will cause a destruction in yoga process. So in this verse, Lord Kapil Dev, he is explaining these 5 characteristics of intelligence. So the first one is doubts. We discussed about doubts, and then the 2 types of doubts: the healthy doubts and wrong doubts. The doubt is good if you want to understand something. We should not accept anything blindly. But doubt in the words of the spiritual master and Vedic scriptures and Supreme Lord is wrong. It's not correct. And then misapprehension and correct apprehension, the correct understanding and right understanding, that is, we are not this body, we are soul. And then memory smriti, Kapil Dev says smriti, the memory comes from Krishna. Matte smritir jnanam apahanam. And then sleep is good, for the service of Krishna, if it is, in proper proportion. Okay. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki, Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Gaur Premanande. Any question from anyone? No question. Hare Krishna. Right. Yeah, this is, it spoke about memory, smriti, but in Bhagavad Gita 15th chapter, Krishna spoke about vismriti also. Vismriti means forgetfulness. So Prabhupada spoke, Prabhupada told on that regard that, when we die, that, we forget everything. Because this forgetfulness comes from Krishna is good actually. To remember is not good, because if we remember, say for example, say someone, if you remember that last life not you, if someone remembers last birth, we say last birth I was a dog, then we can't remain happy in this life. That's why forgetfulness is good. Say if I remember that last birth, I committed some mistakes, and you will always lament. You can't focus in spiritual and activities. There's a forgetfulness is good. So Krishna gives forgetfulness. It comes from him. But in regard to spiritual activities, like we gave the example of Gajendra, though there are many other examples. Gajendras. So that is good, because spiritual, whatever we perform bhakti, that will come in our memory. Salpam apiyasya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat. Even if we execute a little portion of devotional service, that will help us. That will save us from greatest danger. But that memory, that is smriti. To remember Krishna. But vismriti means, to forget bad things, which is not connected to Krishna. So it's good to remember not next life, always life after life. We have the example of Bharat Maharaj. So he remembered everything. That first life he was king, was a great devotee, he left everything, he was performing his bhajan, but he became attached to the deer. So next life, and again he became a devotee. So he remembered everything, that's why he was. So remember is good sometimes it's not good also. For example, before coming to Krishna consciousness, if you remember all those things always, it will be difficult for us to focus on our spiritual activities. So whatever is gone, okay, we should forget about all these things. Okay? Hare Krishna. Prabhupada ki, Samavita Bhakta Vrinda ki, Gaur Premanande.